What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of John Matrixx Talks Movies. Today, we have to talk about Star Wars and Star Wars The Clone Wars. I have just been rewatching Star Wars The Clone Wars for the second time. I watched it years ago. I really haven't watched it since then, but I really enjoyed it. But something is different about watching it this time around. Watching Star Wars The Clone Wars has really reignited my love for Star Wars. Now, don't get me wrong here. This doesn't mean that I like the sequel trilogy whatsoever. No, I don't. I absolutely hate it. But when you watch Star Wars The Clone Wars, you feel Star Wars once again, the way it was meant to be. Especially with Anakin and Ahsoka. Watching their relationship is just beautiful. Ahsoka is really Anakin. They are really the same. She's impatient, but yet she's compassionate. Anakin is very compassionate in this series. Now, we all know that will be eventually his downfall, is his compassion and attachments, because the other Jedi, they don't really feel like that. Well, Obi-Wan does, but that's just a little bit different right there. But I really do think that Lucasfilm should have been watching Star Wars The Clone Wars to understand Star Wars. Yes, it is a prequel, but Star Wars The Clone Wars is some of the best stuff in the entire franchise. There's no denying that whatsoever. George Lucas created this. He was hands-on in this project, and it is amazing. If you have not seen The Clone Wars, you really need to see it. Now, I do have some concerns about Clone Wars Season 7 because they actually canceled The Clone Wars because they said it was just getting too dark. It wasn't Disney enough for it. So I do have some concerns about Season 7 being Disney-fied, if that's even a word. I really do. Because I don't think that it should be that way. Star Wars, it shouldn't be Disney. Star Wars should be Star Wars. There's no other way to put it. Star Wars should have really nothing to do with the mouse. It really doesn't. You know, when I think of like Aladdin and, all of these other traditional Disney projects, they should not feel like Star Wars. That's what makes Star Wars so special. Special. It really is just special. And watching, I'm actually on season 2 right now. I can't remember which episode I'm on right now, but man, I just love it. The fire is burning inside of me for Star Wars. And when I say that, I mean episode 1 through episode 6. The George Lucas Star Wars era was beautiful. And I don't think we actually say thank you enough to George. I think he's become forgotten in a way. I mean, the man, he created all of this. All of this is his creation inside of his mind. 40 years of this. And I hopefully if I'm around 40 years down the road, that fire will still be there inside of me. I'm pretty sure it will. I grew up on this franchise. This franchise means everything to me. I remember watching this movie in the movie theater. This movie, actually Return of the Jedi was actually the first Star Wars movie I ever saw. And it was just so amazing. The fire was burning then. Right now, the fire is burning again in me through the Clone Wars. Now, I still have no faith in Star Wars Episode 9. I don't think there's hardly anything they can do to make that movie any good. But the Clone Wars, that's my favorite time period in the entire franchise. There's just so much depth there, so much story there. And Anakin is a hero. Anakin is someone that we can really relate to in this TV show. He won't let his friends die. He's compassionate. I think a lot of us can relate to that. we can really relate to Anakin. I don't know if we can really relate to the Jedi themselves, because the Jedi themselves, they're willing to accept death. They will let people die if that's their destiny. Anakin doesn't buy into that. And I think a lot of us won't buy into that. If we see our friends hurting, we're compassionate enough to go and offer them help. Something that the Jedi don't necessarily do. And really, that was kind of their undoing in a way. But have you seen the Clone Wars? I highly suggest that you do see it. And it gets even better. I'm just on season 2, but I remember the final season with the clone troopers, finding out that something was wrong with them. That's really amazing. Palpatine gets darker throughout this series. Guys, you got to watch the Clone Wars. It's some of the best stuff in Star Wars history. That's all I have for you today. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. If you're new here to the channel, please hit subscribe to catch future videos from me, and we will catch you on the next video. John Matrixx, out.